Hey there, welcome to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits beloved pop culture favorites through a middle-aged lens. Today we are revisiting Mermaids with Cher and Winona Ryder. They're not here, they're in the movie. But join us, won't you? We are going to be shooping our way all through Mermaids. Stay tuned.
Hey, you. This is Christina.
And Brian.
And we are talking, our old roommates. We are old roommates.
Yeah, we are old roommates.
That's right. We're talking about Mermaids today. The 19...
So this is funny. On Amazon, it says 1989, but when I Wikipedia'd it, it said 1990.
Yeah, I saw... I think
90.
I thought it was 92.
No,
I mean, 90 also.
Yeah, okay.
90 also.
Yeah, but so here we are. So as we usually start, we start with then. And do you want me to just start with then?
Sure.
For my then, I be honest, I saw this movie. Pretty sure it was on like VHS, and I remember being truly, deeply bored. I was bored. And I did love Cher at that point. I mean, not as much as I do now, but I really liked Cher then. I liked Winona Ryder. And it just didn't hit me. I was bored. And I don't know. And so I also grew up with a single mom. We did move a bit, not the way these folks did. It was all within Massachusetts, or really within a few neighborhoods. But it didn't grab me. I was kind of truly bored. It just didn't get me, and I don't know why. And I really what was I 17 or 18? I guess 18. Yeah, 18. So, but that was my whole take on it.
So I remember it as being so. Okay, so I don't remember the exact feelings I had while I was watching it. However, when I was thinking about it, when I thought back at Mermaids, I remember it being, I got a bad feeling about it. And the reason is because I remember kind of being duped. And we've talked about this several times before. When I watch something that's supposed to be like a romantic comedy or something lighthearted, I really don't like when it takes like a dark turn.
Oh.
And... this is one of those movies that did this, and so the only thing I really remembered about it was that dark turn and just being like, you're an asshole movie for doing this. And I remember just having a bad feeling about it, and so I didn't particularly like it.
The dark turn being the drowning.
Well, yes.
It's not a spoiler. I would hope anyone listening to this isn't.
Well,
it can be
spoiler alert.
Someone almost dies, but it's.
But yeah, what other dark turn would it be?
No, I don't know.
Of course, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, hello, she starves herself, and then she drives to Connecticut, and very weird scene.
That was a weird scene.
Okay, so let's dive into it. As you know, we do shallow dives here. We are not going to go scene by scene, and here's what's interesting. I don't usually talk about my husband as when we're watching a movie together.
Right.
Maybe I do, but I don't think I have. But it ended, and he had seen this movie also before, and we were talking, and he's like, "That is a weird movie," because he hadn't seen it since it first came out either.
Sure.
And I was like, "That is a really great word. This movie is so weird. It's not bad, but it's a lot of weird choices." The filmmaking style is weird. I think sometimes the music is weird. There's weird song choices. I think there's weird. The musical score is weird. The narration,
some of the acting is
weird.
Very weird.
Just weird choices all around. And that's why I went to Wikipedia and tried to see some behind the scenes stuff. Really quick, we'll get this out of the way, but Winona Ryder was not originally cast. It was Emily Lloyd, who's a British actress, and she was in a movie. She was blonde. They started shooting with Emily Lloyd. Cher, stopped the presses and was like, I'm really struggling. She doesn't look anything like me.
Wow.
And she had a lot of power because Cher was Cher, and she won the Oscar for Moonstruck, and she was still a big music star, and still is. And she had them recast, and they picked Winona Ryder, who had done Heathers, and they both really liked Heathers. Cher liked Heathers. And then it also went through 3 directors. Like, this is the person that directed it was the third director.
That's a lot of effort for this little movie.
Yeah, it is. It's very weird, and I wonder what kind of movie they thought they were making. It's based in a book, but getting that all out of the way, what we're left with is kind of a weird movie where there's like, for me, the main reason to see this movie is truly now, because I talked about then, but now it's like I watched the whole thing. I enjoyed it. I will say I liked it. I didn't love it, but Cher is really she's so fucking good.
She's so good,
gorgeous.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Every single shot, every single scene, she is absolutely beautiful, and her acting. She has a lot of different emotions to do. Her character is not necessarily a likable character, like on paper,
right?
And yet you are with her.
She makes it. She makes the character likable.
Yeah, I feel like with most Cher things, particularly in the 80s and 90s, like Mask. We talked, the Mask, Moonstruck, and Mermaids trifecta thing. She plays these characters, and even Suspect later on. She plays these characters that are like a little tired. Like, they're all a little tired. Like, Mask, she's this like hard mom, and she has a tough situation.
Sure.
Moonstruck, she's this lovelorn, put upon daughter who lives with her family, and she had this bad situation, and a little but she's always a little exhausted. Suspect, she starts her scene in court by saying that she doesn't want to take this hard luck case because she hasn't had a vacation in a year. So it's all these things where it's like, well, you probably shouldn't like her. It's like, you don't usually like lazy or tired people, but she's instantly relatable, even if you don't relate to this.
Well, because we're all pretty tired.
Yeah, we're tired. I'm tired.
We're a tired group.
All the time. Yeah.
And she perseveres in all of those roles.
So, but she's so good in this movie, and I think that, to me, was the surfacey biggest highlight for me.
Yes. I also loved Cher's performance in it, and I loved her character. Strangely enough, she's not Mom of the Year, for sure.
No, yeah.
However, I really appreciated her approach to her very dramatic daughter, her overly dramatic daughter. Always trying to sort of lighten it up. I mean, I think in a lot of ways it, didn't really take her seriously. So she probably may have been able to improve on that. But she definitely had like a light approach to all of the heavy drama that her daughter had. And I have to say, it reminded me a little bit of my parenting style.
Really?
So it was kind of funny to see that. I'm like, ooh, she's not really likable, but I could see me doing that. And I have done things like that. Now, it's not at that same level of drama and, life choices. But, been plenty of times where Emily has been, like, ridiculously dramatic about something, and I'll just sort of poke fun about it. And I could see a little bit of that similarities in that character and myself, which was really strange. I obviously did not have that connection 30 years ago when I watched it, but I thought that was kind of a funny realization. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's kind of funny. The other highlight I really, really liked was Christina Ricci. She was really good in that.
Her first film role.
She was 9 years old. I looked it up. She was 9 years old in her first film role, but she was so good. She was so quirky. Every character in that.
Well, she was very lived in. There's little scenes, and I wrote this too. It's like, okay, so yeah, using notes, but it's like. But there's scenes where, like, she's standing with Cher, and she's like, she'll just hold on to she'll just hold her hand, as like little daughter would hold her mom's hand, and it's so natural. And like, I in a way, I'd actually prefer watching the behind the scenes stuff than the actual movie, because I wonder how much time they spent together. They seem really close,
comfortable. One of my favorite scenes between the two of them is after that really heavy scene of her kissing. I want to call him Jake. It's not Jake. Joe. It's Jake from...
right. So, 16 Candles.
16 Candles.
That's a pretty... No, 16 Candles,
16 Candles. So anyway, Joe, was that very dramatic scene between her and Winona and Joe and all that. Mm-hmm. And then she's walking in, and I forget the Christina Ricci's character, Kate or something like that. She goes, "Oh, how was your night?" And she's like, "It was very nice. Thank you for asking." And it was like the cutest little like interaction between the two of them as they're walking into the house. So like just really sing-songy kind of fun little interaction, but very natural. I felt like they were very natural.
Super
together.
Controlled. Like the whole scene where she's in the bathtub timing herself.
Oh my gosh, how funny!
Yeah, and it's like she's never been in a movie before, and she just is so like this kid. The drinking the wine at the table, and even Carl, her husband, was like, she,
in acting drunk, like the drunk, like she was
it's hard to
very believable.
The hiccuping, she was hiccuping,
and the giggling, but not like overly. Like she stumbled a little bit, but not like...
I believe she gives a better performance than Winona.
I agree. But I mean, honestly, like Winona had weird material to work with.
I think the problem was that this, like my thinking about this, oh my god, sorry, my cat is old and on me. But I think the problem is that it came from a book. This is based on a book, and I think they just tried way too hard to get a lot of those sentiments in there. And like, I don't usually mind narration, like, but there was so much narrating in this that it bothered me because it suggested that maybe Winona Ryder couldn't act these emotions out when she actually is quite good in this. And like, but there's scenes where she's like, the narrations is something stupid like, "Take me, Joe, take me now." And it's like, we could have figured that out. Like, you're looking at him like he's a piece of candy. Like, so I feel like it didn't need the narration. There's also parts where I think technically it didn't work where, well, first of all, anytime you dive into narration, it's like, what about scenes that feature Cher? Like, what happens to the narration? Well, it's not about her.
Right.
But it kind of is about her. But then, and then there's scenes when she's with Cher, Winona Ryder's character with Cher, and Cher is speaking, or Rachel is speaking to Winona Ryder's character, and then every second there's a narrated comment. And sometimes the timing just doesn't work out too well, and it's almost like it doesn't even give you, the audience, time to even process the real conversation that's going on.
Right.
And I think it got cloudy.
Yeah, I think it would have been fine to have a little bit of the narration at the beginning to talk about Mrs. Flax.
Yeah, and the time that it is.
And that's fine. Mm-hmm. And I did enjoy a couple of the thoughts that she had when it came to Joe. I thought that was a little bit funny, just in that, like, she's so young, and that's another thing we can talk about. But, like, I could see her kind of having those thoughts. Like, oh, you still want to fish? Like that sort of thing when they went into the, when they were in the boat or whatever. A couple of them worked, but it was a little too much. And I don't think it needed to be like throughout with every character. I think it was fine for Joe. Most of it.
Yeah.
But what else?
Well, going back to, like, if we don't usually go scene by scene, we certainly won't. But it's like, even the beginning, I think, with Cher, is that, like, she's, basically looking at dresses and stuff, and she's singing along to the radio. Yeah. It's just supernatural, super space natural. Where it's like, she is, she's just this lived-in character, and, like, I think she truly does like herself. I think she does know what she looks like, you know what I mean? She understands, and she's confident, and you do kind of get this feeling that, like, she is very fly-by-night. She's certainly not, like, mother of the year and moving her whole family. I think that was something that also tripped me up. It's like, they do have the scene of them unpacking, but moving is horrible. Moving is a pain in the ass. Moving is emotional. It's stressful. It's coordination. It's logistics. And I didn't feel that, and I wish I felt that a little bit. Because it's one thing to say, "Oh my god, we move around so much, Mom," but it's like, yeah, moving sucks. Yeah. And, like, they don't even show them packing a box. They show them unpacking. But it's like, also someone like, I think Christina Ricci's character, Katie, gets one line where she's like, "Why did we have to move?" And it's like, really? I feel like most kids would be like, "My friends." Like, it's like, I think it'd be a little more emotional.
Although maybe they're so used to moving with the emotions